All right, hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tom Vays. I guess maybe I should say I'm your host, Tom Vays, but that's really not. Grammar ain't my specialty. Hello from Turkey. I am an. Hey everyone. Welcome to another episode of messed that up. Bitcoin with your host, Tom. So I am in Istanbul, Turkey. I'm not in the center of town. I'll be there tomorrow. I'm here for this private business event. I'll probably tweet it out tomorrow. I just don't even have all the details yet. I've just been kind of in my own world. But it's always good to go back to Turkey. Always like the place. I haven't really bought anything yet, and I haven't even exchanged money. So I'll just use my credit cards. Hopefully I get the new proper exchange rate. I have no idea how cheap or expensive things are around here with their crazy currency hyperinflation. Well, let's go to the charts and see what's going on with Bitcoin. So I am really unhappy with this price action. I am unhappy with this price action to the point of moving the bullish position into fully cash. This takes place at approximately the same price as the position was entered. So nothing is lost here. And the question is, how bearish am I right now? And the answer is I'm pretty damn bearish right now. This is just an ugly looking chart. I know we've already had like 9 consecutive weeks of red candles. And today is already Thursday. So the probability of this candle recovering all of it and going green is low. And the probability of 10 consecutive red candles is unprecedented because Bitcoin has never even had 6 consecutive red candles on a weekly scale. So getting to 5 was already a statistical anomaly. And we are about to complete the 9th candle of a red week. So the statistics are not on our side that it's going to keep going down. But the chart looks so ugly that there's no other thing to do for me. The monthly chart also looks ugly. And at this point, I would consider it an outright miracle if we manage to avoid a $22,000 Bitcoin price. Avoiding the $22,000 Bitcoin price would be the miracle at this stage, because these charts are so ugly. I'm not sure what on-chain analysis looks like. It's been, leaning bullish a little bit, but it doesn't matter because I only trust one thing. I trust my eyes looking at the price of Bitcoin. I don't trust anything else to tell me if I should buy or sell. People are talking about what the next catalyst to crash the price of Bitcoin might be. People are suspecting it could be Tether. People are suspecting it could be Celsius. Now, I have always saw Celsius as a scammy company, and I always thought of Mashinsky as a very shady person. I do not trust that company. I have no evidence that they're doing anything, I have no idea, right? But I've never ever trusted that company. I advise people not to trust that company. I would never have a single Satoshi in Celsius, mostly because they have their Celsius token. And I don't know how they got it past regulators, but I'm sure Gary Gensler is looking at this thing and he's thinking the same thing that I'm thinking. This whole operation is shady as fuck. So people are speculating that's going to be the next domino to fall now that Luna fell. I have no idea. I really don't. I don't really care. I have no exposure to Celsius, and hopefully none of my friends do either. Is that going to bring down the price of Bitcoin? I have no idea. Eventually, people are going to stop playing around with these shit coins and put their money where it belongs, which is Bitcoin. Yeah, the S&P 500 is starting to rally, but I still looking at the Bitcoin price. I'm going to fully cash. I mean, I always expected Bitcoin to decouple and start rising no matter what the S&P does, but I don't like this correlation where the S&P is rising and Bitcoin is dropping. You know what this actually tells me? This tells me that when the stock market opens later today, it's going to drop. I'm not saying, and I've said this before, I'm not saying that Bitcoin is leading the S&P 500. The S&P 500 leads Bitcoin. But on these short-term time frames, Bitcoin is like this canary where I see the pre-market S&P 500 is up, but Bitcoin right now is down. But Bitcoin doesn't have a pre-market. This tells me that once the S&P 500 opens, there is a high probability that it's going to do what Bitcoin is doing, because the same traders that trade the S&P 500 have been trading Bitcoin to the downside all morning. And those same people will start trading the S&P 500 in 1.5 hours from now. And I think the S&P 500 is going to go down today. There's evidence by Corey Klippstein. Yeah, Corey Klippstein is doing a great job. Corey is doing a great job. Good. Shout out to Swan. They're doing great. I got to join one of their spaces again soon. I'll be back in the US next week. And I have all these conferences that I'm being invited to, including Decentral in Texas. And then what do you call it? Consensus in Texas. And then we have, there's other stuff going on all over the summer. But I think I need to focus on my financial summit. Speaking of financial summit, join us in the Dominican Republic. We will be putting Bali up on sale probably next month. Bali is going to be at the end of the year. But I'm hoping to draw a huge crowd to the Dominican Republic. And by huge, I mean a whopping total of 50 people, because that is our target. Our target amount of people for this unprecedented event is 50 people. Costs about the same price as a vacation at these kinds of high net worth resorts. So hopefully you joined us. Check out the website, check out the full trailer, and please follow us on. I'm logged in as me. Okay. Please follow us on YouTube for the financial stuff. These are the rooms that you can upgrade to. They're super cool. Okay, lower level timeframes. This is the main reason why I'm so bearish on Bitcoin right now. I really don't like this, especially today's scan. This floor can only hold the price of Bitcoin for so long. And when it breaks, it's going to get ugly. So I would rather not be bullish in this market. Max and Stacy are doing a new show in June. Awesome. Tone, come to Georgia. I love Georgia. Georgia is one of my favorite countries. I would love to see a lot more of Georgia before it potentially gets taken over by Russia. Same problem as Ukraine, basically. Our government met with Ripple's CEO. That's unfortunate. They offered to open offices in Georgia. Well, that's also unfortunate. Like, you really don't want Georgia to be known as the shitcoin land. But hey, it is what it is. So yeah, Alex, I will be in Georgia. I'll probably go to Georgia in September. I love going there in September because it's the grape harvest for their wine. So just keep an eye on my channel and come grab a drink. What was my favorite bar in Georgia? I think it's called 42 Degrees Art of Drinks. It's like a speakeasy kind of bar, hard to find. You'll find me there. For sure. When do you think Bitcoin won't be mirroring the S&P? Probably after the next halving. Probably after the next halving. So this is the daily chart that got me scared and took me out of my bullish position today. That's it. It's over. We have fallen on a 4-hour chart, on a 1-hour chart, sorry, down right into the MRI support line. It supported it a few hours ago, supported it the last hour, and now we're breaking down. I think Bitcoin is about to drop. I want to be in all cash, and I'd rather stay away from it. GBC premium will likely fall lower once the market opens until the bottom has been found. I remain very bullish on oil. I should put on a bullish position in oil. Like the portfolio, right? So when I start trading, and if I do maintain the YouTube channel, maybe I'll maintain several portfolios. Like right now, my portfolio would be like long 50%. At least. But 50% doesn't mean the whole portfolio. It could mean the whole portfolio, right? So there's two ways to looking at this, okay? You can look at it from the perspective at the beginning of the year, you said, did my camera like zoom out? No, I guess it's not zoomed in enough. As much as I can zoom in, it's kind of far away from me. There's two ways of looking at this 50% long. Let me explain what that is. So right now, I don't see too many long opportunities in the market amongst major assets. What are the major assets? The major assets are the stock market, and you can treat the stock market as the S&P, as the Dow, as the NASDAQ, as the Russell, doesn't matter. You have the stock market, you have gold, you have oil, you have Bitcoin, you have bonds, and you have the US dollar, basically. So 7 major assets. And if you're gonna manage a portfolio, you can say one of the following things. I want to be a little more diversified. So what that means is the maximum amount of a portfolio you could be invested in the stock market is, say, 40%. The maximum amount of the portfolio you can be invested in Bitcoin is, say, 10%. The biggest amount of the portfolio you could be invested in oil is also 10%. And gold is a little less volatile, so maybe for gold you allow 20%. Bonds are not volatile at all, so maybe just 5%. I mean, I'm not even sure why you would, but it doesn't matter. And you can allocate, let's say, 10% to the S&P 500. Okay, great. So now, looking at this oil chart, I say I'm long 50%. That means one of two things. Either half of my portfolio is long oil, because I don't see any other good investments out there, and I'm confident enough that the oil price won't crash and won't bury me. So I am long 50% of my entire portfolio in oil. Let's say your retirement portfolio is $100,000. That means you have a $50,000 bullish position in oil, unleveraged. Unleveraged. If it was leveraged, I don't know, maybe 5% of the portfolio in oil, leveraged 10 to 1. Okay. Unleveraged 50%. Or you could be 50% long of your oil allocation of the portfolio. So if the maximum amount of allocation of the portfolio you could put into oil was $10,000 out of your $100,000, now you're only long oil for 5,000 out of 100. So this 50% can mean 5,000 out of 100 or 50,000 out of 100, depending on how much of your portfolio are you allowing to be oil of the whole pie of your retirement. And that's up to you to decide. I am very bullish on oil right now. This is, of all the major markets, this is the one I'm most confident in, and going long is obviously easier than going short. Oil is trash. Says someone with a Japanese name, maybe. Well, if oil is trash, I'm really curious how you live your life, because in order for you to type oil is trash, you used oil. Like the amount of brainwashing that that has happened to humans is out of control. You needed oil to type oil is trash. The world runs on oil. It's like mind-boggling. Like, I don't know if people are trolling or are people really that stupid. I really don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I didn't even know there were clean energy ETFs. I don't really care much. I'd have to look at the chart. I remain bullish on gold, but I wouldn't take a position. Yeah, so I'm curious what happens at the stock market open. I think the stock market will have a down day today. And the reason why I think that is because of what Bitcoin is doing this morning. Is there a reason why I use the S&P over NASDAQ? There is absolutely no reason. I could look at the NASDAQ. I like the S&P because the NASDAQ stocks are in the S&P. And the NASDAQ is tech heavy. Dow Jones has almost no tech. And to me, the S&P is just a better representation of the stock market than one or the others. So I want to take a look at the Russian stock market. I have my indices, and I didn't actually have the Russian stock market as one of the indices. And the Russian stock market fell below COVID lows. Well, obviously, all Russian companies are being sanctioned again, so they can't profit internationally. You can see the big weekly crash when the invasion started. I am trying to pay attention to the political news of Ukraine versus Russia. And I need to start a political channel really, really badly. Poland is about to send troops, and this could really end badly. This could really end badly. So I'm starting, like, I've been calling it. I've been trying to avoid calling it war, but I've been calling it war. I have not been calling it a special military operation. I've been calling it conflict. I've been calling it invasion. I've called it war on some occasions. But people are about to find out what a war is if Poland does send in like proper military units. That will become war. So I'm starting to lean towards Russia calling it a special military operation was probably accurate, because war has not yet started. But Poland could start it. Ironically, it'll be Poland. Poland could start the war. That will be a war. I mean, when one of these serious missiles like hits the center of Warsaw or some other city, I mean, that's war. They're really playing with fire. All right. We can go through a market, but let me look at the Nasdaq. Well, this arrow was clearly accurate. I must have drawn this arrow just as we broke the prior swing low, and that would have made me very bearish on the Nasdaq. And the support for the Nasdaq is sitting right here at around 10,000. Wow, people in my chat are so misinformed. It's thinking that Putin is a World Economic Forum's stooge is almost like thinking that Trump is a Russian asset. It's on that level of stupidity. It doesn't like if you are anti-World Economic Forum, but you think Putin is a stooge of the World Economic Forum, then like there is no hope for you at all. Like then everything is a conspiracy. Like it's like a flat Earth kind of view of the world. Well, of course, Klaus Schwab said it. Because Klaus Schwab wants everyone to be stooge. Klaus Schwab is a Marxist. So Klaus Schwab, just like many other politicians, will say stuff that are lies because they see lying as a way for the greater good. Don't look at what people say, look at what people do. Klaus Schwab will also say that Trump is part of his little club. Just because Putin has spoken at the World Economic Forum and just because Trump has spoken at the World Economic Forum, it does not mean that they have been brainwashed by World Economic Forum's Young Global Leader program, like a Trudeau or some of the others. I don't have much news on the El Salvador meeting. Is there a source of truth on the real losses in Ukraine and Russia? I mean, there's decent reports. I mean, if you watch the Duran, some of the guys on there, like it's literally their job to try and find true sources. There's a guy named Alexander, he's British. He's been trying to do a good job on identifying truth from bullshit. I will say this. The Ukrainian losses are grossly underestimated and the Russian losses are greatly overestimated. How much? I have no idea. What would be the trigger price for a Bitcoin short entry? Almost now. If Bitcoin is down at 2:30 p.m., like if Bitcoin is trading at about 28.6, 28.5, 28.6 later this afternoon, that's a potential short trigger on Bitcoin for me. I agree. The U.S. needs to get the hell out of Europe and start focusing on China. I'm not saying the U.S. needs to go to war with China. Quite the opposite. They need to find some people and work out a relationship with China to avoid war, something they clearly had no interest in doing with Russia. So maybe they learn from their mistakes, and maybe we shouldn't go to war with China. SCO and UCO, I don't know what those are. Pro shares, ultra short, Bloomberg crude. Ultra short. Okay, no, I can make sense of it. I know exactly what this is. Ultra short. When you see ultra short, it means that it is a leveraged ETF. Ultra means leveraged. That's UCO. What's SCO? Ultra short Bloomberg crude. This is the bullish version. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. SCO, ultra short Bloomberg oil. Right. So that's SCO. What's UCO? UCO is the ultra Bloomberg crude oil. Right. So this is the bullish version of the, why the hell is the pre-market price so low? Well, I don't know how to explain this. I mean, maybe it's just wrong. Maybe it's a spread or something. I don't know. So whenever you see the word ultra in an ETF, run like the wind away from ever trading these things. Like, if you want to talk about a product, a legal product that is a borderline scam, it is the leveraged ETFs on the financial markets. They will wreck you, absolutely wreck you. On a long time scale, this is the bullish version. It has lost 99.9%. It's worse than a shitcoin. This is how they function. This is exactly it'll reverse split again. Like it's an infinite downtrend for the ultra. Anytime you see the word ultra, you do not touch it. Do not touch these things. That's the UCO and SCO. They have these things. I mean, they're legal products. This is the opposite. This is the short. And even this one, like since launch, you can see how it lost 99.2%. Like they will lose. I mean, it prior to shitcoins, this is what I talked about as the scam of scams, that people have the ability to trade. They have only one direction, whether it's the long version or the short version. Their direction is only to the downside. And I don't have like a half an hour to fully explain this. I've done it in videos past, a long time ago, even with Tyler Jenks. But please do some research and investigate why leveraged ETFs, 2x and 3x, 3x is worse than 2x, obviously, I think are scams, and they should never have been allowed by the SEC. Yeah, the moment I saw Ultra, I knew exactly what it was. Like these things should be banned from. I mean, like maybe they shouldn't be banned, but it's just such a scammy product. Because if you're an educated investor, like I can trade this because I know what I'm doing. So there's only one way to trade these. You can only use them as a day trading tool. You can't use them as a buy and hold. not even for a week. So the only way to use these things properly is to either buy them at market close with the intention of exiting the following day, or you buy it after market open with the intention of exiting by end of day. You do not hold this asset for a 48-hour period. Never. It is an asset designed to just lose you money if you start holding it for longer than a 48-hour period. And the longer you hold it, the more money it's going to lose, unless you are getting very, very lucky. Uber on a monthly chart. I looked at Uber yesterday, but I didn't look at the monthly chart. Yeah, it's a disaster. Uber on a monthly chart. Look at that. MRI top, MRI bottom. There was an MRI bottom there, right? There was, but not on a monthly scale. Yeah, Uber is a disaster. If it falls low enough, could be a good buying opportunity. Oh, finally, I do want to look at the currencies. I am in Turkey. I'm hoping dinners are going to be super cheap. The Russian ruble is having a rough time this week. But look at that. It's an MRI weekly buy on the dollar versus the ruble, and it perfectly timed the daily buy. Like, I don't know how I could have traded this because it's hard to trade the Russian ruble, but this is where I would be shorting the ruble and buying the dollar. How long is this going to last? I don't know, maybe a week, maybe two. And after that, I think the ruble is going to appreciate. All right, guys, I'm going to get going. I got to go meet some friends that are organizing the event here. Come join us in the Dominican Republic. And we're going to have an awesome time. Talk to you all on the next one. Bye, guys.